All right, so this is for some of my teens, teenagers, and even adults. Now, some kids are being abused, and it's visible. But the ones with deep wounded trauma that are being used and abused continuously, it's a bit harder to the public or for the public to see or notice. And that's because the abuser have a different approach for these kind of kids. Meaning, these kids already made it clear, made it known that they have been abused, and they just simply want a safe space. So the new abuser will appear or approach them as a loving and caring individual who would like to help, humanity and kids, all that good stuff. And they would even use the help from another child that could possibly or already be in abuse to help support or hide their true intentions. Even become a little bullies in training to help destroy another innocent's life. What do you say to a child that says, "I love Satan"? Well, I'm not a judgmental person. I rather try to understand others' point of view. So the best approach or my response to a question like that would be, or was, "Why do you love Satan?" And the answer that I got was simply, "Because he is a cool dude." Okay. Well, what makes him so cool? Well, she or he did not want to talk about it. So I dropped the subject because deep down I understood why. And of course, the trauma and so far life abuse makes people like that feel a certain way until they come to their own senses. Now, some of those kids that I know for a fact are on social media. I would like to point some things out for you as you are in training doing the devil's work, aka Satan, and disturbing someone else's peace and thinking that it's funny or cool, you know? Well, what happened to a real education, like a real caring education, health, an actual caring health? What happens to that? Because I'm sure you're not getting that. Otherwise, you would have a better explanation for why you love Satan, right? Other than he's really cool. When was the last time you were truly yourself? Because at this point, you have no true sense of originality because you've become a slave mentally. And how far do you think you're going to make it in life? When you're alone, what really goes through your mind? Think about that for a second. Again, bullies and narcissistic individuals never attack due to their natural senses of weakness. They don't attack by themselves. And again, abusive comes in different form. So my thing for you is that why do you want to continue to allow yourself to be abused or be a victim? Do you remember the stories your so-called friend, which is the child that's probably being used or used as the baiter, you know what I mean, to get the other kids to come through? The so-called story that they told you about their actual parents. Well, guess what? Have you ever thought about that story? Because what do you think will happen to you or your friend if you continue down that path? Stop for a second. Open your eyes. Stop faking temporary happiness for fake promises. While you could possibly be in traffic without even knowing. Think about that. Side note. These natural disasters that are happening are not a coincidence right now. Hawaii, Georgia, Texas, Ohio, Utah. Hey, let's talk about our own state, Florida. Do you remember that last hurricane? The area that was severely damaged? Well, there's a lot of Satan worshipers that live there or lived there. And for some of you adults, even you too. I know not too many people wants to talk or mention politics, but since DeSantis, recent actions after that last election, very recent, he was involved in a car accident himself, personally. I believe it's called karma, not the good one. And all the wicked pay sooner or later, believe me. There's always more to a story coming from an abuser, especially the one that uses kids. If you think about it, how many cell phones do they have? Do their story completely add up to you? Just a little food for thought. While you're trying to disturb someone else's peace, while they go and get you to attack someone else because they couldn't do it by themselves. Because generally you're probably and are a really good kid. You just don't have the right influences around you. And you're looking for something. It's okay to keep looking. But deep down, don't forget who you are or who you want to be, who you would like to actually be. Try by being yourself. The kind, loving kid that you really are. Try that. Maybe rub that off your friend. Because if they have, other sickness or mental illness that they're so-called diagnosed with, how much care do you see the parents actually putting into that to help them? So how do you think this person is going to be able to help you? Sometimes you have to learn to help yourself. To actually see beyond what's actually being shown to you. You're a lot smarter than you think. A lot smarter than what they want you to believe. So start using that.